Welcome back, everyone. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and this is Into the Nexus, the podcast about Heroes of the Storm. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Kyle Ferguson. Kyle, welcome back, dude. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's the first episode of 2015 of this show. I did another first episode this week, and I'm looking forward to next week when I don't have to say that anymore.
You're ruining it.
So did you have a good holiday break, good winter break? Did you get your Christmas skins on and Here's the Storm? And
those are going to be so. The Jaina one looks good year round, perhaps. I don't know. She has those like holly on her chest that might seem a little off in a couple months. So I'm not going to invest in any holiday skins. That's a bit odd. Halloween you can get away with any time of year now.
I'll give you that. I like to break out the Halloween Hearthstone card back every now and then. When I'm feeling like I shouldn't use the Ice Crown card back that I've been using pretty much since I got it. But
yeah, I've been Black Temple the whole time.
Okay, that's a good one too. That's the one Katie's mad that she didn't get. It's the only card back she didn't get.
Oh yeah, maybe will those never come around?
We have no idea. We assume no. But
we didn't get a chance to meet up at all really over the holidays. But I played a ton of Heroes.
Yeah, every time I wanted to play something with you, or vice versa, we weren't available. It was awful. It was the worst break ever. Because we're like, yeah, man, we're gonna play StarCraft and Heroes, and we're gonna level up and WoW, and none of that happened. I mean, I did all that just without you.
Exactly.
And it was sad. It was a sad day, but yeah, we got some in this week because what's better to do than when you're back to a normal work week than play video games? So
right, to just screw it up right there in the middle of the day, a nice lunch hour game.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, all right, I finished lunch with 40 minutes to spare. I could get ahead on work, or I could play a game or two of Heroes, depending on how long the matches went. Nowadays, it's pretty much one game you can fit into that amount of time. But
yeah, the games have definitely increased in length as the meta has filled out and people know how to play.
Yeah, that definitely has happened. Yeah, it's interesting, and I've been really wanting to hear from get feedback from what appears to be a massive influx of new players. But then I realized they're new players, and whatever the game length is right now is what they're used to.
That's very true.
But yeah, we've been getting a lot of emails and tweets from folks. It seems that a big blast of invites went out over the winter break, because there's a lot of hearing from so many people. It's just like, oh, good, I can finally listen to this show, and I'm just like, you could have listened to it before.
But I only kind of half paid attention to you guys, and plus, if you go back and listen to an old strat, it could just be gone now. They may have removed that ability that we targeted so heavily in that part. So welcome to the show. Thank you for paying attention now. And thank you for listening in the past if you just kind of had it on.
True. But I mean,
over the holiday, I did purchase Jaina with gold. Got up to 13,000 and still couldn't make myself play enough Diablo games because I never win.
No.
To get that master skin.
Slow your roll, buddy. What do you think of Jaina? Because you haven't really had a chance to play her yet.
Oh, she's a delight. Like, just the whole crit mechanic of having to get chill on someone and then proceed to do a lot of damage to them is just a blast. And it really, almost as much as the previous Illidan build where there was that mark whenever you hit someone, gives you that, like, ooh, that's the guy. Like, I send out a Frostbolt and, well, I hit the wrong guy, but now you're my man. And I'm all over your business.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I actually took kind of a break from Jaina over the break. I kept getting like play a Diablo person daily over and over again, and I had taken a long break from Vala, so lately I've been playing Vala again, and it's fine. It's totally cool. I still really enjoy her. I had the desire to really just kill some noobs, and I got to do that. Man, I had a game today though where I was that guy that would dive too deep every single engagement, and
Were you a tank?
No, I was Vala.
Oh, well, that's no good at all.
Yeah. No. Well, we still won, and I would always dive too deep after we already taken out one person, and there's that, someone's retreating in the back, and it's like, I can get him. In this particular game, there's this Tyrande on the opposing team that would always get to, like, just about dead and then retreat, and I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. Vault Hungering Arrow, and she would die, and then I would die, but we'd always be, like, 2-1 on me dying, so...
I thought you were talking more like an Arthas play where you're the Lich King, man. You're feeling like a badass. What really happens to me is I'll play a Diablo game and we win. We do great. And then I completely forget going into the next game that I don't have all my souls, that I no longer have all these abilities I got over the course of a game to keep me alive, and I end up throwing myself to death.
I can't say I have that issue. It's just in my head that, okay, new game, from scratch again. Let's do this. But
I guess that's because Diablo's talents, other than the fireballs, which I then talent to come back to me, with other heroes, there's some major augments you make over the course of the game. In fact, there's some that I'm like, I'm just going to not do anything until I'm level 7, and then I'll feel okay. But Jaina was a lot of fun. Like, definitely figured out that you do the Cone of Cold first, because it's close range. You're probably not going to hit anyone in it when you're chasing them. So if you can get it off, great. You got chill on them, does the least amount of damage, great mana cost for it. Then you Blizzard, and then you do the Frostbolt as they get away, and usually you can get them.
Gotcha. Okay. I really do like Jaina. Like I said, didn't really play her that much over the break, but I think she's like in my top 5 as far as the stable of heroes I like to rotate between right now.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun. And then I also experienced my first draft. When this is like a draft in quotes, I was online, got invited to a game. We played the game. I was like, sweet, okay, cool. Bye guys. And they're like, oh no, wait, we have enough people to do a draft. So we all get together and we're all getting on Skype, and it's like 1 a.m. for me. So I'm like, I guess I'll get on Skype, and being kind of antisocial in the first place. So I get in there and I experience problems that I have never thought about with draft coming that I am now afraid of.
Oh, okay. Well, so this was a draft that took place entirely over Skype.
Yes.
So I feel the need to make this distinction, because if folks are just now getting in, they might be like, wait, draft mode's in the game now? I thought it wasn't. It's not. This is, folks, people do this on their own via Skype or chat or whatever. But
right, applying other games drafting rules into this game.
Yeah. So what were the problems or the things you had to think about that you're now concerned about?
So the first thing was there was one ban, and then we would do first team picks 1, next team picks 2, back and forth, last team picks 1, so and so, because it's a 5-man team.
Yeah.
So first, ban out of the box is Tychus, which is like my serious mode guy. So I'm already kind of like, crap, game's ruined. But here's the real problem. The guy who was the loudest, the most talkative, became the group leader and therefore the spokesperson.
The shot caller.
There wasn't any sort of, vote called or anything like that to be the guy who was speaking for the team in this draft back and forth with the other guys. And so he proceeds immediately to pick all the best heroes in his mind. So we have a Tassadar, and we have a Falstad and a Vala. And then once all the heroes are picked out and he's completed the draft for our team, as it were, he then proceeds to say, cool, who wants to play these? You go, what? Yo, you didn't pick Tassadar for yourself. Well, what are you playing? He's like, well, I don't know. I'm going to pick whatever you guys can't play. And the problem was no one could play the heroes he picked.
Oh.
Like to really highlight this point, he picked Falstad without asking, can anyone actually play Falstad? And when you see an amazing Falstad, it's a piece of art. And he's flying around, shooting giant lasers and just wrecking the place. If it's your first time on Falstad, it's awful. And you really have no concept of how weak of a bird you are.
These aren't problems I would expect to have once draft is an actual mode in the game, though.
No, because in team captain mode in Dota, this is what happens.
Well, then your team is terrible, and you should have all talked to each other before you went into draft.
You can solo queue for that thing.
Okay.
So you solo queue into a draft mode.
I sincerely doubt that will be a thing with outside of in this game, the way Blizzard has developed it thus far, with ranked mode being a mirror match hell. I don't think you'll be able to have a team captain select all of the heroes for you outside of a full 5-man pre-made.
Fair enough.
I will be very surprised if we see that, and I will take a bite out of my hat and swallow it. But
right, I'm hoping, of course, that it's more of an interface where it's now your turn, and you're just picking for yourself. There's going to be people who ruin things.
And again, because of the having to buy heroes, everyone's not going to have every hero in the game. That mode wouldn't even work.
That's a good point. In this case, though, everyone had access to Falstad because he was free that week. Mm-hmm. So it ended up being a bit of an issue. Into the
Gotcha.
second one. So I take Tassadar, we lose out completely. The other team is just, rocking it. Picked all the tier 1 heroes across, the internet as voted by the internet. And then we get into the second game and we need a tank. It's down to the last person. Everyone but me has picked something. We're this time at my behest picking heroes that we want to play. And I go, sweet, everyone's picking all this great damage. I'm going Diablo. And that guy, he gets on my business. He starts saying Diablo's underpowered, not letting me pick Diablo, laughing while saying Muradin's a better choice in my face. It hurt.
Welcome to the internet.
I know. I'm a sensitive guy.
There's two things I do in that situation. Tell them to slow their roll. I'm going to play the game I feel like playing, or I just leave.
Right. I stayed and I took every missed slam, every missed, push was, of course, the fault of mine and the fact that I wasn't Muradin because he's OP at the moment. So it got me. It threw me off my game. I avoided heroes for a couple days and then just ended up getting back in there and working through it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of gamer you want to be, but that chat room's like, that guy sounds like a jerk.
I'm not saying those things because he may have been right and he may have had all the credentials that everyone, placed on him as team leader. And I was just the new guy in the room.
That's fine. And there's nothing
me in authority, Garrett.
There's nothing wrong with that. And he probably, and it sounds like he was right. He sounds like he had his hero tier list correct. But if you don't want to play that game, it sounds like you shouldn't have been there in the first place, to be honest. It sounds like not the type of the gameplay that you enjoy.
Fair enough. Good point.
No. Yeah, I don't know. There's different ways to play games, and that's fine. And that's what some people, when they're thrown into a game with 4 other strangers, either fail to observe or don't care because they're jerks, and feel the need to, I don't know, kind of tyrannically try and tell everyone how to play their game.
True. I hope we get a very good system.
Yeah.
But even if there is the best one in the world, there's still going to be people, and we're going to have to build up those resiliences to that one guy who won't let up that you didn't pick that hero he thought was perfect for the comp.
Right, exactly. I totally am that guy. Every time Kyle picks Abathur, I just want to vomit, and I tell you that I want to vomit.
Yeah, and then we usually lose, but we do all right, and it's by no fault of mine.
Yeah, no, I'm totally that guy. When I get into that random pickup game, I had one today where I got in. I'm like, oh, good, Abathur's on our team. I guess we lose, and we did horribly. And that's fine. And that's fault of my own. I try not to get on other people for it, though.
Right. It's amazing just how video games can be so personal too, and it's very quick to jump to assumptions. But I also got some messages from people from our last show who were rather upset with our talk with D-Day because we called certain heroes overpowered. And last thing you want to do is think, I'm the skilled ass witch doctor, I'm such a badass, and then you listen to one of your favorite shows and this guy's just putting you down the whole time.
I think saying that the game is developed in a way where some heroes are better than others is putting down a player that decides to play one of those heroes.
That's not what I'm saying, but we all get a little defensive about our Pikachu Super Smash Bros. Play.
It's very true. It's absolutely true. That being said, I've had plenty of friends who have always just switched to whatever class in World of Warcraft was the most broken piece of crap at the moment, and they were fully aware of that.
You battle ththose Pokemon players who just switch to the element that beats you, and all you have is a trade-off party. Nothing ever gets done.
Exactly. So that's it. I'm sad that your first draft experience wasn't particularly wonderful. But no, it really does just sound like it was two different types of gamers trying to work together, and it just wasn't coming together for you.
That's reassuring. Thank you.
You're welcome. So anyway, man, this is a topic I could do a whole show about.
The psychology of picking.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I game differently depending on who I'm playing with at the time.
Yeah.
Like there's certain friends I know that are a little more try hard like me, and they're fine with the black and white. Like, no, don't play that. That thing is crap. You better play this. And they're like, okay, cool. And then there's people like you who I'm just like, no, I realize he has his own play style. I'm not going to push him too hard, although I'm going to beg him not to play Abathur. So,
Right. I know my limits now. For good times with Garrett, please stand within these 2 lines.
That being said, I love playing games with you when you play Diablo because we do really well.
Well, yeah, but we've also been, experienced with one another. I know that's most likely a stun shot. I'm most likely going to push there. It works out well.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm just, note on that, I'm so excited for whatever happens with Diablo. I definitely feel he has some problems right now, and I can't wait for whatever they're coming up with.
awesome. I mean, I like the basic idea behind him, that he's this brute that just moves people around the map, and I really like that, and I hope that's not lost with whatever they may end up doing with him.
Right, just like Arthas, you're this unstoppable beast. Just keep walking forward in your heavy armor. Diablo, it's about picking people up, slamming around, making them your rag dolls. I'm so sad that when the game first came out, the Dragon Knight was pick-upable. You can still push him, but you could just manhandle that thing. It was awesome.
It was very cool. I forgot about that. But, yeah. Anywho, let's talk this week's news, shall we?
Let's do it.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
Can Stitches play now? Put me to the stage.
All right, we've got closed beta start date, Kyle. It's officially starting on January 13th. If you haven't tuned in the past, extra emphasis on that close. It's not going into open beta on January 13th. So really not a whole lot is changing. It's just got a new name. I'm wondering if there's not going to be a new client, right? It's already on the beta server.
Right, we moved there already, and as far as I know, they're basically throwing a mental switch for themselves. Basically, they're declaring the game bug-free as far as a game can be, on launch.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Because, yeah, as excited as I am to hear this, it really, nothing's really happening. We're going to get a patch, according to Blizzard.
Right, and that's the real exciting thing.
Exactly.
Getting stuff.
Yeah, we're going to get a new hero. They didn't specify, but it's obviously going to be Thrall. He was playable. Well, I mean, I guess it could be Lost Vikings, but Thrall was in the picture of this post where they talked about this.
The Brawl with the Blues, it's a big old Thrall. It'd be pretty strange if they're like, just skip it.
And Lost Vikings. Yeah. I mean, Thrall, Lost Vikings, and Jaina all playable at BlizzCon this past year. So it's got to be Thrall. There's also going to be a new map. Obviously, it's got to be Sky Temple, right? Considering the Tomb of the Spider Queen was not even playable on the floor. It wasn't even finished. Like, they showed it to us, and there were still a bunch of models and skins missing. So, yeah, we're probably getting Thrall. We're probably getting Sky Temple. We're also going to be getting new skins, and we're going to get ranked play. So I'm more excited about ranked play than anything else because I can't wait to see how this is going to work out. And I can't wait to start bullying Kyle far more. After I spent the top of the show trying to be like the nice guy that's like, yeah, play the way you want to play and don't compromise. But the second ranked play comes out, I'm just going to be like, Kyle, bring your A game, man. I need a Tychus.
That's what. Yeah. Well, there you go. Like, just don't take Tychus away from me. No arguments had that whole night. But yeah, I'm not sure what kind of ranked play it is at the moment. If we're getting both of them, we are getting a button addition to versus, the next level of it.
Okay. Awesome. So we're not sure if this is actually draft ranked, right?
We're not sure if this is the rank that you can queue as solo for with, groups of, up to 4. Or if this is the one you have to have 5 set people programmed there in the client with a name and all. And then you play as a ranked team.
Gotcha. All right. But yeah, they're going to be doing a new Brawl with the Blues very soon to kind of show all this off. And I'm stoked, man. I mean, I don't know. It's funny because it's like part of me, it's like, oh, I'm really excited about Thrall, but I'm spending enough money in Blizzard games already. But
interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
After this week, I wish I would have held my Jaina gold. She's free right now.
Oh, she is in the free-to-play rotation at the moment. I mean,
I didn't expect that.
I mean, it's only this week, dude. I mean, next week you'll be happy.
Right, yeah, and I'll feel special once again.
Yeah, I'm
not waiting for that queue right now, boy.
It sounds like you're really enjoying her, so.
Yeah, she's a blast, dude.
Yeah. So speaking of Jaina, because I mean, not a whole lot more to talk about closed beta starting up. There is a Jaina damage bug. Now we've talked about for the last few episodes. It seems like how it seemed like Jaina wasn't doing enough damage, especially for an assassin. Anytime you hit tab and you looked at your damage output in a game as Jaina was always severely under everyone else, including sometimes supports. I mean, I would go into games as Tyrande and consistently out DPS Jaina, which it just seemed weird. And it turns out it's a bug. Her ability Blizzard, its damage is not making it into the in-game damage tracker. So there's multiple posts that made it onto the Reddit Heroes of the Storm page this over the winter break. We've got links to both of those in the show notes, which you can find over at amove.tv/ITN. But yeah, I'm relieved to hear this. I've never been so relieved to hear about a bug in my life.
It's so odd too, and it's really obvious now that you know it. You just kind of go, "Oh crap!" Like the one ability you feel like you can't engage in a fight without. The one ability you probably invest most of your points into if you're just starting with her. I mean, the range, the increasing the size of the blizzard coming down, you're probably hitting some buildings in there too, and none of it is making it on the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, Blizzard is the build I kind of like to go for with Jaina. Really over anything else. It's just I love that move. It has such a nice effect on engagements. But yeah, so
and it crits itself. You know, on minions, you don't have to set it up with a Cone of Cold or a nice Frostbolt. If you talent it to have 3 slams, you're easily doing over 1,000 damage. And none of that is made. Hitting multiple people, it's absurd. So I don't know why this hasn't been hot fixed in since it's been in existence since she came out. Maybe, Christmas holiday. Or maybe perhaps it's just like really hidden in there.
Maybe. Who knows? And I did some scrounging around on the official forums and I didn't really see any mention from a blue as to this bug, if it's, in the pipeline, if they're working on it or not. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, Jaina, not as bad as everyone thought.
No, quite good, actually.
Yeah. All this being said, there is still plenty of talk. A lot of, pro players still thinking Jaina needs a little bit of a bump on the damage respect. But, yeah, I don't know. I still really like Jaina. So, you wanted to point everyone to, I called it free-to-play weeks by the numbers. Where did you find this thing?
Oh, I found this on Reddit.
Oh, of course you did. Okay. I must have missed this. This is so cool.
Yeah, so someone has been keeping track of all the different weeks and what heroes have been available for free to play. And we have some numbers now as we enter closed beta as to which heroes they've been more liberal about and what they've been kind of holding back. So at the top, Raynor, 21 weeks. There was a good 10-week period in there where they thought they were going to give Raynor for free because of the training mode dropping you with Raynor initially. People kind of make that connection. Oh, by the way, did I share with you one of my favorite discoveries thanks to someone on Twitter this holiday season?
No.
Raynor, Robert Clothworthy does the voice of the computer inside the car in Avengers. And it's awesome. And you need to listen to it.
I did see this. I haven't gone and listened to it since, though.
Yeah, Nick Fury's car is like, get out, kill the Zerg. And it's like, oh, God, Rainer's in the car. He's in Avengers.
That's amazing. No, I didn't see. And I'm looking at this. There's no way Murky has only been free to play once.
It's true.
There's no way.
It's absolutely true.
I could have sworn we've seen Murky free to play more than once.
No, but if you can't stomach that, Chen's only been free to play twice.
Yeah, but Chen's newer. So
about as new as Murky.
No, Murky came with the same patch as Lily, correct? Or was it Lily and Brightwing? I forget which one they doubled up on.
Zagara was somewhere in there.
Yeah, and Zagara's only been free to play 5 times. Rhaegar only 4. Damn. Okay. Abathur 7. That's just a sin.
Yeah, isn't that bizarre? The only thing I can come up with is people who get in the alpha head to the main website, and for the past almost a full year, they've been speaking about how exciting Abathur is to this genre because he's so different. And maybe they just want to have him available for people to try. Maybe they're testing things. I don't know. Abathur seems extremely complex. When you put Murky up against him, I might even go with the Murky for a new player.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of more conventional heroes I would recommend for new players, but...
Right, and why are they coveting Chen?
I don't know. So anyway, so the top 3 is Raynor, Muradin, Malfurion, and Muradin and Malfurion are tied for 14 weeks.
Right, and these are both the same priced heroes in that 2,000 gold range. So, makes sense that they would want you to kind of pick up your introductories, get used to them, and say, okay, I'll own this now and, work towards bigger things down the road.
And Malfurion, I think, was the first support I played. And he did just feel natural. Like, the second I started playing him, I didn't have any questions. I'm like, okay, I get how this guy works. And then it wasn't until later that I fully kind of respected his ability to give mana. But yeah.
Yeah, that's really the thing is, okay, heal over time. Sweet. This Moonfire thing, not really feel. Some dudes are amazing. But I just don't get it.
Yeah, no, I get that. And Muradin, again, just kind of feels right. Makes sense. It's kind of what you expect a warrior to be. Yeah, and Raynor obviously makes sense because he's the one you play in the demo, or not the demo, the tutorial. So I get that. So this is interesting. I'd love to talk to someone from the team and be like, get into some of the more on the lower end and be like, well, why do you feel this care? Like, why is Murky held back?
Right, and like Sergeant Hammer 8 times, and I honestly don't see any uptick in her free-to-play usage in those weeks that she was extremely overpowered. So I would love to hear what the testing is that goes on in the background. Again, Nova was not available for a good 10 weeks, and then suddenly when she was overpowered, she was available, every other week practically. So there's definitely some method to the madness here.
Yeah, okay.
But why Murky?
Yeah, I don't know. Man, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 straight weeks of Raynor. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that was when he was free to play,
exactly.
the permanent. Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. Well, cool. Thanks to whoever set this up. This is really neat.
Now I feel the need to thank him. I'll find it. I'll find it by the end of the show.
That's fine. And also a quick mention: European shop prices are going to increase. The quote from Blizzard said that we regularly review our global pricing and occasionally make adjustments to reflect local and regional market conditions. As such, we wanted to give everyone a heads up that to align with recent regional currency shifts, we will be increasing euro prices in the Heroes of the Storm in-game shop starting January 5th, 2015. All purchases made prior to this date will be based on the current prices listed in the in-game shop. So this pricing change has already happened, but that's interesting. Although
interesting?
It's a little interesting.
See, now you've titillated me because when I put this in here, you said you were angry, and now I have to know why.
No, I wasn't angry. I was just like, we had this in terms of the hierarchy of the news this week. This is pretty tight at the top. I'm like, A, this has already happened. B, it's not in the country we reside in, so we can't even speak to its effect on us. So... that being said, I do find it curious, though, because this isn't really something we've dealt with any of the Blizzard games over here. It's not like all of our Hearthstone packs just went up by 50 cents.
Right, which would be, rather shocking.
Right, exactly. And that's why I say this is curious. I mean, obviously, the way they, Mivander worded it here, it sounds like I'm reading the driest article in Forbes. But...
the pixels, they're going up in price, and Blizzard has to continue to make high quality.
Which which is why I said specifically the driest article in Forbes, because I find myself reading more and more Forbes because they keep finding a reason to write things about esports, and I don't know why. Exactly. And there's some of the best esports articles I've ever read. But yeah. Anyway, go Forbes.
Yep, and to anyone out there concerned about pricing, you got to remember too that this game hasn't come out yet officially, and it seems just really mind-boggling if you've been there since the beginning to not have those prices move. But they said they're going to. And there's going to be specials and all sorts of things like this. You can compare it to League of Legends, but those heroes, like the original heroes, are that cheap because they were originally priced high forever ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, like you said, pretty much anytime the shop is brought up for any reason in an official post from the Heroes team, they mention, hey guys, still alpha, price is still subject to change.
Yep.
Just FYI, they've been kind of beating us over the head with it. So it's just that there really hasn't been any price changes. So this still came as a bit of a surprise to some people. But anywho, that'll do that for now. Let's talk some strategy.
Choose a talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? Ah, that seems generous.
Yeah, no clue what that means.
Wolf, who you and I, Kyle, are quite familiar with and fans of and have actually interviewed on our old show, StarCast, is apparently playing quite a lot of Heroes and jumped on the Heroes of the Storm subreddit this past week to discuss the Korean meta. Because apparently Heroes of the Storm is kind of gaining some traction in South Korea.
Yeah, surprising amount, actually. And there's been a couple of StarCraft pros kind of mingling with the teams. No one's really made an official statement yet if they're going to commit themselves. And at this point, that makes sense. But Wolf did sit down with one of his friends, Beat, of Team Ghost, in order to ask him some questions about what the meta's like over there. And to say it frankly, I mean, I can throw all the fits I want about, don't tell me how to play. But when it comes to Korean meta, you just shut up and listen.
Yes, you absolutely do. And when I first saw this, the thing that piqued my interest was the fact that we're seeing some Brood War and StarCraft 2 pros move over. Apparently, Duck and Sniper have both moved over to Heroes.
Oh,
which
nice.
Just excites me. Anyway,
Which makes sense. Those guys are big sort of innovator plays. They like to do fresh things and surprise their opponents. So new games are just going to really seduce them. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of people, the heavy mechanical people who are always on top, always doing awesome. They're going to stay in their other games, StarCraft, being one of them.
Yeah. Now, the thing that is probably, we definitely want to talk about first and probably the most interesting is the fact that as far as the South Korean Heroes of the Storm meta is concerned, they've assigned their own names to roles, and they've kind of categorized characters in their own way outside of the sphere of the categories we already have in the game. So Wolf kind of wanted to, it seemed like, specify what this terminology was so that they could then move on and talk about the game. Apparently they have a category called Main Dealer, and under this they have Tychus, Raynor, Vala, Falstad, Nazebo, and Sergeant Hammer. These are apparently the damage dealers that have the highest burst damage potential. They also said they might have very constant damage for long periods of time and get the most support from the supports on the team. They're also spec'd for maximum damage. So these are your, again, to put it in MOBA terms, this is the closest thing to a carry we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we've got the sub dealer, which I found interesting. It just makes me think of someone like making subs in a back room somewhere.
Hire chef, man.
Yeah, there you go. And the first one up is Mr. Tassadar. Tyrande also falls in here, as well as Abathur. They also said, or any other main dealer spec'd for support damage. So that's interesting. That's the way I prefer to play Tyrande, and I think we've talked about on the show before that, if you're new, yes, she is a support, but Tyrande can put out a decent amount of damage, and her stun from Lunar Flare is great. If you get
sure,
good
but
with
she's not saving any lives, which is kind of the thing here. I mean, Abathur, the biggest thing you're going to save a life with are those magical moments the shield works out, or you get the speed later on and you send someone running, and that's level 16 in the game. Tassadar, same. I mean, shield's not the best thing in the world for saving someone's life. You can spec them for more heavy support, but you really only do that if you're missing that actual healer in the team. So I just love the way they're thinking about this too. And this goes into the other roles as well.
Yeah. Which, moving on, I get the next one is called the main tanker, and this is Arthas, Chen, Stitches. If he goes the Putrid Bile route, and Diablo, which they say they have a low CC or low crowd control, but great survivability.
Which is such an awesome way to think about this.
What do you mean?
Oh, those tanks, they're incredible. But look at every single one of those. I mean, a Chen can just frankly piss you off to no end. But what's he going to do? Like, if you're 2 levels ahead, a Chen on your business doesn't mean anything.
Well,
and Arthas, yeah, you're froze, you're rooted, like it hurts, it sucks, but you're going to walk out of it.
What's he going to do, Kyle? Well, if you were in the game with me yesterday that you were in, Chen will split into 3 people and then perfectly body block you from 3 angles.
There
and
was
you
a
will
Diablo in that body block. There was
There
an
was.
extra dude in there.
There was, but the Chen was the thing that got me first, and then Diablo kind of just walked up and helped finish me off.
Yeah, and I was in one of those positions where I just had to watch. And
There was nothing you could do. It was one of those save yourself, fly you fool. Yeah, I'm really down on Chen right now. Every time I see a Chen, my mission in this game is to make your life a living hell for playing that character.
It's really frustrating. He has a lot of survivability. His jump is just, it's up in your business. It can clear you and then body block you on the way. He's a big fat guy. One of the things I feel like we're really missing with Chen right now is how important CC is and going to be down the future. Because he's drinking, you knock him out of it with Diablo, he doesn't get mana. He has to wait for that refresh. He no longer can jump or do any of his abilities. Before he splits, you Brightwing him. You turn him into something else. You stun him, and then you kill him off before he can even press the button. And that's how we're going to see him countered in the future. Right now, we just try to ignore him as best we can.
Yeah.
Because wailing on him is just going to cause problems, and there's probably a Vol in the background being an ass.
Yeah, so anyways, we talked about main tankers. They also have sub-tankers. So much like they have the main dealer classification, they made a sub-dealer. So this is the sub-tanks. And this is Stitches if he goes the Gorge route as far as talents are concerned. Anubarak, ETC, Illidan, Sonya, Muradin, and Tyrael. So all of these guys that fall under sub-tanker have strong crowd control and strong initiation. They also said tank spec assassins that pretend to be the obvious target and absorb crowd controls while the main dealers kill safely.
Which
That
is the coolest thing on Earth.
So freaking sweet.
I geeked out on that idea hard. Like I've just, a Tychus, full spec for damage, like not getting any of the first aid, no stone shield or anything. But then you have some Kerrigan jumping around in the front, acting like she's a big deal, but she's the one spec'd into all the protection.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tychus killing everybody. It's a great, great strategy.
Yeah, and I was about to say, well, they didn't even mention Kerrigan, but they do, actually. They also said you might run Zeratul, Kerrigan, or Nova as a sub-tanker.
But this is, it's filling that role, but that's because you're never going to get to late game tech, as it were.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, this is your Zerg rush.
Yeah, they said these are the 3 you're go for if you're going for the early win.
Yep.
So if you're trying
Zeratul,
to go a fast
you're going to get
game.
that early level lead. No one's going to be able to come back from it, and you just end it. Kerrigan is amazing out of the box, fresh. As she's talented, she was probably weaker, by level 20 than some of the other options.
Yeah, and then of course the final category they have is just supporter, and it's Brightwing, Leadley, Malfurion, Uther, and Rhaegar. They said these are the healers who can contribute to crowd control, which is great. Love me some Brightwing, man. All about the polymorph.
I'm frankly surprised to see Lily on this list.
Well,
it's great to see. Like, I'm so happy that the Koreans can say, no, Lily's okay. Because a lot of people have been having issues with her. And the main reason, frankly, is the CC. Brightwing, Malfurion, Uther, Rhaegar. Well, Rhaegar, not so much with the totem. There's one level where you can get it so it just roots them, and that feels like it's the worst thing on Earth. But when you're doing it yourself, you're like, oh, goody. Compared to an Uther just walking up and slamming you in the face with a stun, then ulting in a stun.
Right. Well, Uther is the most, like, you look at him, you're like, oh yeah, here is the definition of crowd control. But everyone else, it's a little more, I don't know, nuanced.
Sure,
Brightwing
has a polymorph. Her other one is the push, which is extremely powerful when used correctly. Lily has the winds, which cause you to miss. Granted, block's an amazing ability. Making people miss basic attacks is going to save lives. It just doesn't quite feel the same.
Yeah, no, it's less, you get less feedback from it as a player. It's less, I don't know, less easy to tell that you're actually doing it correctly. But I thought this was super interesting. And they went on to talk about in this discussion. Folks asked what the tournament structure was right now. How are the tournaments in Korea doing picks and bans? Apparently, it's a very small online tournament scene in South Korea at the moment. But the one big one is called the Zotac Heroes Arena, They said that this tournament does have a ban system, which makes the team with more OP heroes win the game if both teams are at the same level. The important thing here is they said people usually pick Brightwing first. The next priorities are Tychus, Arthas, Stitches, Falstad, Uther, Vala, Raynor, Chen, and Abathur. You put that in there just because you knew I was going to rain on Abathur a little bit today, didn't you?
I actually changed him from a comma position to the very end, so he just waited on you.
Oh,
oh God, Kyle. No, I didn't do this on purpose.
Okay.
I'm fascinated to see Brightwing first. I think that's really cool. She's an awesome hero, and interesting that they've really picked her out as a support that then has polymorph. It's a big deal. And then the rest are all kind of like, I expected that. It's nice that there's that many on that list in the first place. Because dealing with a game that is not yet fully out, to say that it is balanced enough that the top tier heroes are 8 of them sounds pretty good to me.
It's not bad, yeah. I mean, you don't have 10 there, so you don't have enough for 2 full teams. But
exactly,
it's fine. Everything's fine. How are you? No, this makes me so happy because you know me. I'm such a I'm campaigning for Brightwing for Hero of the Year. And
sure.
I'm apparently not completely wrong on my beliefs, and that makes me happy.
Well, she also gets bonus points because she's an original character, and everyone loves her. And if you don't, you're wrong.
Yeah, I love me some Brightwing, man. They also asked, how many bans do you and most Koreans feel should be implemented in a tournament system? They said that 1 ban for each team, so a total of 2 bans. 2 bans for each team is a total of 4, which is too much at this point, where they can ban all the good and popular picks, which was something we've talked about on the show before. And it kind of goes in line with what Blizzard was saying, hey, not a lot of heroes in the game yet, guys.
Yeah.
But I can see 1 each. That's fine.
I think that's solid. And then you deal with any problems the community sees and allows Blizzard time to fix them.
Yeah.
Or if they're completely illusionary, at least we have that comfort to get rid of that thing that is just in the meta.
Yeah. And then they also went on to talk about balance, which we love. We love hearing about balance on this show.
Sure, again, Koreans, the authority. So please tell
exactly.
me.
Just sit back. Okay, let me hear. They said some heroes that people say are too strong are heroes like Chen, who they said is very hard to play against if people don't know how to play against him or if they don't have any CC on the team to kill him, which I think our Chen discussion about 10 minutes ago explained why that is. They said also Zeratul in solo queues because of his later damage and boss steals on a certain map. I love that they brought up solo queues.
Yeah, I just love that they brought up boss steals. More because it's such an incredible move, and we haven't talked about it because I don't want to see it. But if you're not familiar with what a boss kill is, or boss steal in this case, they're talking about all mercs, and Zeratul's ability to freeze everyone in time while he can walk through the bubble allows him to throw it on a team standing on a platform waiting to get mercs.
Yeah,
and he steals it out from under him.
It is. I think I'll give it. This. It is the most infuriating thing in this game.
It's beautiful.
It's a thing of beauty, and it's so infuriating when you're on the receiving end of it. It's like that and Chen.
Yeah, if the whole team's there, we fell for it, everyone kind of kinks their glasses. But if you've been that one dude who shouldn't be getting mercs, but you decided to get them, so you were there for half an hour trying to kill these damn giants, and a Zeratul walks up and does this to you, it sucks.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And then they also said people think Jaina should be buffed a little because she has no escape until level 13. Yes, go ahead. Give her some type of escape mechanic before level 13.
I think she's pretty good as she is.
I approve this message. And then finally they said people say that there should be a rework with invisibility to heroes like Nova and Zeratul. They think they should be changed to have a mana cost for every second that they are invisible. Which this is the only thing in here I'm just you're playing too much StarCraft and not enough other
Exactly.
MOBAs.
That was my exact point. I'm let's also add some extra levers and one of those flip-up switches on jets in case you shoot your missiles accidentally. So every button you're hitting an extra 3. We need to raise that skill cap, guys. This is too casual.
You went a little further past my point, but okay. No, because this exists in current MOBAs. There's heroes in Dota that are just perma-stealthed.
Right.
So
break stealth to do anything like our heroes do.
Yeah.
But, they don't have to deal with anything like, predator shadows as they walk around.
Yeah.
I think it's a lovely idea, and I feel rewarded for my years of StarCraft.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think, I don't know, maybe a wider access to a way to, for lack of a better word, give true sight. Like, really, we have like Tassadar, and that's really it. I mean, what else are people doing to see invisible heroes?
Right. My main thing is I don't know why the forts don't have true sight. And I think it's great that if there's a skilled Nova or Zeratul on my team, I want them to kill the Abathur 24/7, and I love that they do. It just seems like, if you're running past the important buildings that give XP, there should be some sort of penalty.
Yeah, I guess would you only make it town halls then? Because if you made it all turrets, like there'd be nowhere on the map you could stand and even.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a bit silly. But the big old castles that is probably manned by at least one man with a telescope. Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Spaz in the chat room saying he thinks stealth should only cost mana if you can use your abilities while stealthed. Which I'm not sure I like that idea either. Just leave it alone. I like it how it is.
Right. We can find ways to make this work, but I think it just gets more disgusting than it is. Sure, you respect one of these cloaked heroes staying out of the fight, but what if they're standing out of the fight with no cloak at all and they have to wait to recharge? It seems too dirty, in my opinion. Though I definitely think they need some sort of boost, like the true sight on the forts.
Okay. All right. I can get down with that. I'm okay with that. Be interesting, I guess I'm okay with that. I'm thinking it would make diving for the core at the end of the game a little harder for anyone who's stealth, but I'm okay with making it harder to dive the core.
Right. What shouldn't happen though is all the walls are down and now your entire main base is just a free for all for stealths.
Yeah.
Particularly in Blackheart's Bay, where there are no safe zones outside of that first wall because there's all those bridges and holes.
Yeah.
Coming from an Abathur player, though, like I'm asking for my own joy for these things to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, I highly recommend folks go and check out the Reddit post and the interview with Beats, which is up on teamliquid.net in full. We'll have links to these in the show notes, but pretty much the Heroes subreddit and teamliquid.net are the places to see those two things. So go check it out.
Right, and just in general, if you enjoy people doing these sort of coverages, tweet at them. Like, tell Wolf that you enjoyed this sort of thing because he's currently gauging, how he's going to invest himself in this new scene. And this was an excellent interview. Yeah,
this is one of the most interesting things I've read about Heroes of the Storm in a while. So, Wolf, if you're listening, please keep doing this. Thank you. Let's take some emails.
Darkness stopped calling.
I hear the wilds call. Wait, nature calls.
Okay, tell them I'm not here.
I know you're there. You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Our first email today comes to us from Detton, who writes, "Hey guys, first off, love the show. Been watching since the first episode, and I'm happy to say that I am in the alpha myself finally. Congrats. It's been about a week, and with the help of the AMove TV channel, /join space AMove TV, everyone. By the way, we have a chat channel in there. He said, I've been in a few co-ops and managed to not embarrass myself too much yet. He goes on to say, I've saved up 10k gold so far, and that leads me to my question. I am sure the heroes are balanced in general, or will be. But I cannot shake the feeling, though, that if I spent my money on a 2k or 4k cost hero, that I will regret not buying a 10,000 gold one. Or if I do buy a 10,000 gold one, that it won't live up to my expectations and I will feel I shorted myself by not buying several less expensive heroes. Buyer's remorse and all that. I'm going to try to play it free as best as I can, so I'm sure a lot of other newcomers have the same issue. Here's my question. What makes a 10k cost hero worth that much compared to the cheaper ones? They have more potential power, but it requires skill to do. More skill shots, for example. Big risk, big reward. Lack of escape tools, for assassins in particular, if you get caught. But typically they do more damage. That would explain the assassins at least. Although I still don't know how it would apply to warriors, support, or specialists. Any insight is appreciated. Looking forward to the next show. Thank you, Detton, for this very thought-provoking, incredibly well-written email.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
If I had a wall, it would go on it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
A wall for this particular thing. I have walls.
Wall for emails sent to itncast@gmail.com?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. This is a good question. And I mean, we discussed this a little bit in the very early days of the show because we were trying to wrap our head around the whole pricing structure of these heroes.
Yeah.
And it seems that now with new heroes being added, the pricing structure is just out the window. A new hero gets added, they're going to be, what? 15K, and then they're going to be 10K for the rest of forever. So for everything beyond the initial stable of heroes, I don't think we're going to have this discussion. That being said, the simplest way I found to boil it down is I honestly feel like all of the heroes that I played, the ones that cost less, are the ones that seem significantly easier to get the hang of.
Exactly. And you know exactly what you're bringing to a team. So Muradin, like 2,000 gold. Bottom of, the list. There's lots of other great warrior heroes that are out there. But what does he bring? He brings some mobility. You can jump away. You can jump to initiate. You got to slow and you got to stun. And you got an ult that makes you damn invincible. And one you should just not use, and that's Haymaker.
You have made a complete 180 on this episode today, Kyle. You started the show at the top being like, don't tell me how to play, to saying there is a ability no one should ever use ever.
Good point. Fair enough.
We love consistency on this show.
But really, Haymaker's just bad.
No, it is. You're absolutely right.
Let me put it in a more Kyle-like way. We are yet to see it applied to its full extent, and I can't wait for when I see an awesome usage of it.
Translation, it's bad. Don't use it.
Don't use it right now. But that's the thing. Like, you have a group of nothing but, 2,000 cost gold heroes. You've got yourself a good-looking group. The problem would arise if, when they launch the alpha and those low prices, let's say the Abathur's 2,000, like now you have all these Abathurs running around who don't know what to do. You're
right.
Absolutely bloating your queue with specialists, which need to be more expensive because really the game can kind of get on without them.
Yeah. Chat room saying, by the way, that you're taking different talents this episode. That's why you're all over the board in your beliefs.
Talents? Oh, yeah. Well, it's a different show. I'm speccing separately.
There you go. He's adapting as it goes on. You're like, oh, damn, this healer's really not doing it. I guess I better take some self-healing.
Yeah, I got to block those basic attacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really adapting as if it's a solo queue game. Anyways, no, you make a good, perfect. And Abathur is probably the best example of this. Abathur is 10,000 for a reason. He's super hard to understand and get the hang of and play correctly.
Right. One of the, mind-bending ones is Nazebo, Witch Doctor, at 10,000. There's really nothing that makes him there, except, I believe, your ability to absolutely screw your team with a poorly placed zombie wall.
I'm glad you brought that up, because, except, takeaway, I think, that is the reason. I have been in so many games on free-to-play Nazebo week where my Nazebo on my team just screwed the pooch for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens.
That's absolutely it. Also, his, what's his ult where he stands still and channels the giant ghost forever? That's a hard ult to use.
Right, Ravaging Spirit.
Ravaging Spirit, thank you. I don't play Witch Doctor. I don't know his,
I might
his
be
abilities.
Wrong.
Is it? I'm just going, it sounds like it, because it's a spirit and it ravages things. So, I'm just going to agree with you there. But, when I have played Nazebo, it's very hard to use that heroic ability. Ravenous Spirit.
It has the ravaging capabilities.
There you go. Ravenous Spirit. Anyway, that's also a hard ult to use. It's very easy just to use it and then we'll die. Because you're standing there channeling in the middle of a bunch of danger.
Pretty much. And once you know the maps well enough, then maybe the bush applications and making sure you're good distance and all those sort of things can come into play. Chat makes a good Michael Dandy makes a good point that he doesn't have any escape. I mean, at level 13, you can take sprint, but that could be a very big factor here is
lack of escape.
How much how much you could die potentially.
Jaina's 10,000 doesn't have escape. By the way, it was E Overkill in the chat room who actually said that. But yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. I mean, it's like without going hero by hero. I think we kind of covered it. It's the more expensive they get, the more practice and kind of technique it takes to use these heroes to their full extent.
Exactly.
So, which is not to say that 2K heroes are weaker, because
there's nothing about like how much you're spending in game that is affecting your personal power. For strategy's sake, like just gold spending strategy, I would get the 10K one you want now, because one, you're going to play the hell out of them, so you're going to make a lot of gold. You're going to be really into them if you actually enjoy that hero. And then later on, if maybe you get burnt out, you already have that guy you love, and then you can kind of get little things to keep you interested in the meantime.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's stopping you from going in the try mode and trying them on or trying them out. Obviously, you're not going to get the full experience. I mean, the best thing to do is obviously try them during a free-to-play week in an actual game. And find out which because I would do the same thing if I was going free to play. I would get a really expensive guy first, and then just start picking up 2 and 4K heroes here and there as I go along. That's me personally.
We can kind of apply that thought to our next email with co-ops.
Yeah. Let's wonderful segue, Kyle. Our next email comes to us from Brian, and Brian writes, "Hey guys, I just got into the alpha 2 weeks ago after a year of waiting, and I was surprised. All my hype had gone, but once I got into heroes, I feel like I've tapped into what people love about MOBAs in days. The way I describe it is habit forming. Anyway, it's great to be in. I was wondering, as someone who's never MOBA'd before and has only 2 weeks under my belt, should I be playing Versus? I've been sticking to co-op so far. I've been doing well, I think. One guy even friended me saying that I fought well as an Uberak. Felt
Sweet.
Good. Might buy him with gold. But I'm very unsure. What would you suggest?" This reminds me a little bit of the should I ladder questions we used to get on StarCast.
Yeah. And there's going to be those anxieties again coming up as we have actual ranks. Right now you can head over to your hot logs and take a look at your made up score. I mean, I'm diamond. I'm proud of it. Like, hey, according to League, that's a big deal.
I get mad ladder anxiety in Hearthstone.
That's something you feel like you actually work for. And that's what I'm curious about the new rank system. Like, is it sort of like StarCraft where it's like, I'm in this general skill area, or can you with stars actually say what your rank is? And that is so much more personal, and you don't want to ruin that.
Yeah. All that being said, co-op is great. I recommend co-op anytime you're trying a new hero. If it's the first time you're going to play a hero, go into co-op. Just learn the buttons. Take a look at the talent trees. Figure out how they move around, how fast they move. Do they have escape mechanics? If they don't, what mechanics can you use to help you escape? Which I guess would then be escape mechanics. But I mean obvious ones. Like Vault lets you get away, but with Arthas, you just have to be really good at landing a Howling Blast so you can walk slowly away and live.
But well said.
Yeah. But really, and chat room's kind of already answered it for me. I think playing Versus is the absolute best way to learn this game. It's a bit trial by fire, because if you're not sure what you're going to do, you very likely are going to have a terrible game. And if you're the kind of person like Kyle at the top of the show is just like, this guy kind of shook my confidence in this game, it might bother you. But there's no better training than playing with and against real people.
Right, and when you get down to it, like I forced myself. Everyone knows there's a problem with MOBAs being toxic. So why do people keep playing forever? It's because people are more fun to kill, and they react and they get emotional, and that's what it's all about. I mean, you You jump their Vala 5 times, guess what that Vala is not going to do? Be anywhere near you. It's great. It feels awesome. They now have an emotional connection when they see your name over your hero running at them, whereas a computer will never have that.
Yeah.
And you can't trick them up. You can't get inside their head, without text, of course. I'm talking all gameplay, not like messaging the other team and getting in their business. That's no fun for anybody.
Yeah. And
but they're just more fun to kill. And because of that, too, co-op is a bit more gentlemanly. The computers like to stay in their lanes, and not gank is the main thing.
Yeah. Can I, to kind of close off my thoughts here, can I take us down a road I don't think I've ever taken us down before?
Sure.
All right.
Is it a nice road?
Yeah.
Well paved?
We'll see. We'll see.
A little bumpy.
So in terms of learning how to play the game, like if we look at this very objectively from the point of, I just want to get better at Heroes of the Storm. We talk a lot about the social aspect of gaming on every show I think we've ever done. And toxic environment, and it's not just in MOBAs. Go play a WoW BG or read comments in a Hearthstone thread. There's always going to be somebody judging you for whatever your rank is and telling you you're terrible and LTP and all that jazz. Those people suck. I don't enjoy those type of people. However, thank you, douchebags of the gaming world, because I learn from you. I go into a game like this, and I thank these terrible human beings because when they open up their can of vitriolic just vomit at me because I screwed up, I learned something.
Interesting.
So that's a way you kind of spin it if you have the fortitude. And believe me, there are days where I'm not in the mood to deal with this kind of stuff. But it's not, you don't have to look at it as a bad thing. Obviously, if you're offended by, swear words and aggressive people, it's probably not for you, but I don't know. I mean, it's kind of just like getting a critique. It's just from unsolicited critiques.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent point. And, to that point, too, you read a review of anything and it's positive and you go tell all your family. And you read a bad review and you go, they're smoking crack. What an ass. Get all defense. So it's very true. That is an excellent point, though. And there have been a handful of times when I've been with someone who's getting wailed on by a particular guy, and that victim then says, "Oh, how neat. I didn't know that." And suddenly the guy kind of changes his tone and becomes more instructional. He's still angry because he wasted his time, but actually he's more interested now in, helping you to further yourself.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, if there's anything people have probably taken, I'm sure people have kind of gotten the idea now that more times than not, I like playing to win, and I'm not a flavorful guy when it comes to games, and Kyle can attest that I'm the worst D&D player ever because I'm just like, well, I just want to shoot everything in the head. I just shoot everything in the head. Well, no, you could talk to them. You could try and seduce them. You can open up a portal to another realm. Like, well, I just want to kill everything. What's the best way to kill everything? Garrett, this isn't a shooter, damn it. But but also, like, I don't know. In pickup games, I like teaching people. Like, so if you are like me and you do tend to get a little hot under the collar when people don't play as well as you wish they would, try and nicely inform them how to improve their gameplay. It'd be like, hey, you don't always have to use Vault to engage. Keep Vault off cooldown as Vala so you can escape when things get crazy. Oh, well, I spec'd into, Hungering Arrow refreshes. That's fine. That's okay. Still, just make sure you've got a good lay of the land. Keep an eye on the mini-map. Do you know where all of the enemies are? Oh, there's 2 missing. They could be behind you. Leave that Vault off cooldown.
But you've just said more than someone could actually type in a, in mid-battle.
But I mean, over the course of a game, you're kind of giving these little tips.
What I choose to do is, like, I praise what they previously done. So if I'm in a game with a horrible Arthas, but he looks like he's trying, I'll say something along the lines of, that was epic for as long as it lasted. And then you kind of gauge his personality. They'll go, shut up, noob. And you're like, okay, well, now we're not having it. And but usually they go, yeah, I guess I got a little ahead of myself. And then you say, you should have taken this talent instead. And maybe you have a nice time.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. It's just, I don't know. If you're going to give unsolicited advice, try and be nice about it, people. But anywho, that's the way I go into it. So to Brian, answer your question, just play versus. Just go in. Just be like, F the D-bags, and, you'll get better faster. Because, man, the AI is dumb in co-op.
Yeah.
It is real dumb.
There are a handful of heroes that it understands, but the majority of them it does not get. So they love objectives, which is good. And I think that if there's one thing that needs to be programmed in, it is that the computer needs to teach people that objectives are important and they will get destroyed without them.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, it's you can't increase their difficulty at the moment. They said that that'll be a thing, down the road. But
and that they will have their difficulty based on the league in which you are fighting in. So whatever bronze happens to be gets a dumb computer because I guess that's what they deserve.
Yeah, and kind of final point here. I don't think Versus will be nearly as... I don't think it'll have as much of a, air of concern over it once ranked play comes out. Because
exactly.
Ranked play is where you go. It's like how we play Dota. It's like, well, let's just do a, random all pick. Okay, here we go. But if we want, hey, let's get, 5 of us together and do a draft and ranked, that's serious business.
Well, and that was one of the wonderful things when ranked came to Dota. Is if you weren't playing ranked and you're being a butt, everyone got on your business. Dude, what are you doing? Who are you yelling at?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah, exactly. It's like going into a casual game in Hearthstone and being like, why isn't this guy playing the perfect Warlock deck? Well, it's because he's trying a new deck out. Calm down.
He got a little excited about pirates. It's nobody's fault.
Oh my God, the idea.
We all know it doesn't work.
A pirate warlock would be the worst thing ever. Anyways, so yeah, no, what is it? How far are we now away from closed beta? Next Tuesday, the 13th, we're going to have ranked play in the game. Just play versus. It's fine. It's totally fine. Ignore jerks and make friends. It'll be a good time.
Yep.
And,
but, saying that, oh, I'm sorry I couldn't get that talent because I'm gated, that should be avoided. And then you should have played co-op. I'm throwing it out there, man.
I bought Jaina a level.
You bought Jaina a week of, though. No one's going to know what.
I bought Jaina and I just jumped in. I was like, I'm not taking her through co-op. I played her at BlizzCon. I've got the gist.
I mean, I did too. But, no one's going to get in your business for the hero that came out 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so anyways. Hope we answered your question, Brian. We got a little off track there, but... Anyways, I think that'll about do it for emails this week. Again, if you'd like to send an email in, you can do so to itncast@gmail.com. Thank you for your emails, guys. Keep them short, keep them concise, and we will totally add them to the show. That'll do it for this week's episode. As always, want to thank all of you who are subscribing to Into the Nexus over on patreon.com/ITN. Thank you so much to our patrons. This week we wanted to thank Anthony O and Ron P. Thank you guys very much for being 2 of the most recent patrons to the show. We really really appreciate it. We just wrapped up our first year with an active Patreon page. That's kind of dope. It's really sweet. It's been a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it. So thank you guys very much. And also, if you're leaving us reviews on iTunes, we want to thank you guys. So this week, thank you to Acarius2, Winter Wind, and Filamasso, who I actually was going to write this in here. Oh, but here Filamasso wrote, host crap all over Lily. 1010 would listen again.
Oh, I have such a weak spot for those Steam reviews. Can never get enough.
Yeah, they're great. So thank you. Thank you very much for your reviews, guys. It helps out the show a lot, actually. As always, Into the Nexus is produced by amove.tv and Declan H., our patron producer. You can see more about this and all of the other shows we do over on amove.tv. Our email, once again, is itncast@gmail.com. And you can catch us live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/amovetv. Or if you don't want to watch video, you can catch the audio stream over at alphageekradio.com. You can follow us on Twitter at ITNcast if you're ever curious about when the next show is coming up, when the next show is posted, or just want to hear us talk about heroes. That's the account to follow. And big thanks to Brian Griffith, who is the musician who made our intro music. His work is over at briangriffithmusic.com. Kyle, when you're not hopelessly following through the vortex we call the Nexus and home, where can folks find you?
You can find me at A Move Radio, the other show I do on the A Move TV network, as well as Biggest Fan Podcast. There was a episode that came up just a week ago, and that was us reviewing the Toys R Us kids catalog, which was an absolute blast, and I have no idea why any of those things were popular. They were probably the same pieces of crap that I grew up with, just in new boxes. Anyway, follow me at Twitter, at Kyle Ferguson, and check out my website, kyleferguson.com, where I have my expoundings on Dungeons & Dragons. This past week, I put up a new article about my favorite cult I made up that wants to blow up the moon.
I am so sad that you are not easily accessible to play D&D with, sir.
I know. It'd be a good one.
Whenever you're coming to visit, we're doing another one. Totally doing another one.
Let's do it. I'm all about it.
All right. Well, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I can be found at Garrett Art. That's at GarrettArt, or over at nomoonart.com. That's my graphic design portfolio. I'm a freelance graphic designer in my day job, so if you need a graphic designer, check it out. And also The Angry Chicken. You probably listen to it, I'm sure. We hear all the time, oh, we found this show from that show and that show from this other show. But if you haven't heard about it, we talk about Hearthstone, and it's a good time. So go check that out. And I also wanted to give a shout out to the show Beyond the Playlist, which actually had me on, and it was an interview episode, and I got to talk a lot about art, which I have to kind of stuff down my desire to talk about art 24/7 on a lot of the shows I do. So I kind of just got to open up and talk about my life as a freelance artist. So
awesome.
Go check it out. It's Beyond the Playlist. The episode was the one that went up on January 4th. I believe it's just titled Garrett Weinzierl, so go check it out. Anywho, also check out these following websites. Go to doghouse-systems.com for amazing gaming PCs. You can use the code ITN to get double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig, and you'll also support the show in the process, as well as over on tweakedaudio.com. They make noise-reducing earbuds, and you can use that same code, ITN, and you'll get 30% off plus free shipping off of your entire order, and even multiple orders. You can use it now on like 3 earbuds, and you can use it 6 months from now on 4 more, and it still works, and it even works for shipping into other countries. So we thank them for their support. We thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week for episode 34 of Into the Nexus. Good luck and have fun.
Take care.